Welcome to the studio at That Nerd Show. I'm Marcus Blake, and this is your daily nerd news for President's Day, Monday, February 17th, 2020. Our top stories of the day take us to the world of film. Who is king at the box office this weekend? Why, it's Sonic the Hedgehog, and it looks like it just broke the record for opening weekend video game films. It is the fourth best President's Day weekend debut for a film. So, if you haven't had a chance to see it, you should definitely check it out and read our review on thatnerdshow.com. But Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog has hit over $70 million in 4 days, according to the studio, after a $16.5 million Sunday that is down 20% from Saturday. The film was based on the Sega character and remains the best domestic opening for a video game property on the big screen on both a 3-day and a 4-day weekend. And among President's Day openers, it's the fourth best after Disney Marvel's The Black Panther, Deadpool, and of course 50 Shades of Grey, which we never saw and would never cover anyway. But anyway, the expectation by Paramount is that Sonic will make $12 million on Monday. In the industry insiders estimate figures at this point that this is an A cinema score movie and has a final U.S.-Canada cume in the $200 million vicinity. But anyway, on both a 3-day and 4-day basis, Sonic is Jim Carrey's second best domestic opening of all time at the box office, behind Bruce Almighty. And while it has been mentioned before, this film is continually throughout the weekend how Paramount's make good to fans on both fixing Sonic's teeth had a great way in building a success at the box office. Overall, the studio's trailers for the film have garnered more than 500 million views worldwide to date. And of course, Paramount took out a TV spot during the Super Bowl pregame that featured four of the fastest athletes praising the blue critter on the legendary speed: Michael Thomas, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Busch, and Allison Felix. Speaking of all the athletes, Paramount held advanced influencer screenings for those in the NBA, MLB, NFL, NHL, WWE, UFC, and NASCAR. Ensuring that the faithful showed up to Sonic this weekend was Sega, which incorporated the movie character into their mobile games and promoted it across social media extensively. But this movie is based off the classic Sega Genesis character, which premiered in the late 80s. And for any gamer out there, this was one of those must games from that era that you just had to play. But it looks like it's going to be a great weekend, and also a great week for Sonic the Hedgehog. It may end up being the highest grossing video game movie of all time. We will see. But definitely check it out, and you can read our review on thatnerdshow.com by Alex Moore. In other movie news, it looks like Ruth Wilson and Matt Bomer have their next project, and they will be starring in the AIDS activism drama called The Book of Ruth, from Tony-nominated director Michael Arden and independent studios. But anyway, Ruth Wilson and Matt Bomer are tasked to lead in this movie. It's a feature based on the story of Ruth Coker Burks, a devout Christian divorcee and single mother from Arkansas who became a champion and caregiver for AIDS sufferers in 1980s America. Michael Arden, the two-time Tony Award nominee theater director, also who landed both those nominations before the age of 35, will helm the film, and this will be his feature directorial debut. But anyway, the screenplay comes from Rebecca Pollack and Cass Graham, whose 2019 script Betty Ford appeared on the blacklist and was optioned by Ryan Murphy, with Sarah Paulson attached. But this story is set in 1983. Ruth Coker Burks lives a busy life devoted to her work, her 6-year-old daughter Jessica, and her Christian faith. When a handsome new neighbor turns out to be gay, a New Yorker who has fled the city and returned home after the death of his partner to AIDS, she decides to educate herself on the epidemic sweeping the country. Scott Lastesti and Dominic Teague and Thomas Daly will produce. Cora Palfrey and Sarah LaBouche will serve as executive producers, and the shoot is scheduled to happen later this year. Director Arden said of the project, "It's a great honor and privilege to tell this important story about the responsibility one human has to another. especially in a time of crisis. As a gay man, I feel that Ruth's story of empathy and the face of great prejudice and adversity is one that is needed in our modern time. It is vital for us to remember that we lost an entire generation to the AIDS epidemic and that so many people, including Ruth, sacrificed their own comfort station and livelihood to help those in need during this plague. The female-led story tells us that our deepest darkness can come to the brightest light and that the work of Ruth Coker Burks is a constant reminder of all that is best about humanity. That was a comment from the producers. But anyway, the Book of Ruth is taking a look at recent history, showing us what a person can achieve if they put their prejudice aside and do the right thing. It is truly an inspirational story that buyers and audiences will undoubtedly respond to. This was another quote from Sarah LaBouche of Independent's head of sales. So look for that movie to come out probably in 2021. Now, just to give you a little background on this, we've started to see more and more movies dealing with the AIDS crisis. Matthew McConaughey won his first Oscar about 5 years ago for the Dallas Buyers Club, dealing with a man who contracted AIDS and who was very much a redneck and prejudiced against homosexuality and ended up being a champion of people being able to get drugs and, sustain their life, at least for a little bit during this crisis. They're always emotional movies. We have no doubt that this is going to be a great one, and we cannot wait to see it, especially with the cast. In other movie news, Megan Fox and Bruce Willis will be joining Randall Emmett's directorial debut, Midnight in the Switchgrass. But anyway, Megan Fox, Bruce Willis are joining Emil Hirsch in this movie, which is done by the Highland Film Group. And the story is set in 2004. The film will follow an FBI agent and a Florida state officer who teams up to investigate a string of unsolved murders. Willis will play Fox's FBI agent partner. But anyway, after producing more than 100 movies with Emmett Furler Movies partner George Furler, including the Best Picture Oscar nominees The Irishman, Emmett begins to shoot on his directorial debut March 9th in Puerto Rico. The $15 million budgeted thriller is being financed by an independent studio. But anyway, it looks like to be a great little independent film, small budget, bringing together this talented cast. But also projects in post for EFO films. They will include Survive the Night with Bruce Willis, Force of Nature with Mel Gibson and Hirsch, and Axis Sally with Al Pacino. Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles actress Megan Fox has movies Big Gold Brick, Rogue, and Think Like a Dog also in post-production by this film company. So we will look to see what this is all about in the next year when it comes out. But it sounds interesting. That's what's going on in the world of film today. Now we go to the world of TV and streaming news, and it is all about Netflix today. So, for fans of Lucifer, don't fret. It doesn't look like Season 5 will be its last. We could get another Season 6 on Netflix. Netflix is in talks with the series producer Warner Brothers TV about another installment of the comic book drama, sources have confirmed. And the producers who have been steering the show would need to make a new deal, but would like to do another season. It is in the works. They haven't said no yet. We'll confirm it once it finally happens, but this is good news for Lucifer fans. If it all comes together, the plan is for Lucifer to go back into production in September with star Tom Ellis and other Lucifer cast members already have been approached for new stories on various platforms. So Netflix and WTV would need to step up their efforts to secure the actors. But they are available, and sources close to the situation are optimistic that the renewal will happen. The reason we're reporting on it is once we get into talks like this, it usually ends up being a foregone conclusion that another season will happen. Lucifer started on Fox and it canceled it after 3 seasons. Netflix rescued the series, extending its run by 2 seasons. Last summer, the streamer renewed the show for a 5th and final season. While 4 to 5 seasons is typical length for a successful Netflix series, Lucifer produced more episodes than a regular Netflix series. It varies between 13 and 26 episodes in length. The drama starring Ellis has remained a strong performer on the streaming platform. It was highly rated at Fox as well. But anyway, at 77 episodes through 5 seasons, Lucifer is already one of the longest running Netflix original series with whose episode count is between veterans Orange is the New Black, which has 91, and House of Cards, which ended at 73. Comments were made by producers Modrovich that we're so incredibly thankful to Netflix for resurrecting our show last season and now letting us finish the story of Lucifer on our terms. Henderson said at the time of the season 5 renewal, more importantly, we want to thank the fans for the incredible passion and support. Of course, the best is yet to come. Lucifer is based on a comic book character created by Neil Gaiman for DC's Vertigo imprint. Sam Keith and Mike Drimberg for Vertigo. It stars Tom Ellis, Laura German, Rachel Harris, D.B. Woodside, Leslie Ann Brandt, Amy Garcia, Tricia Helfert, Scarlett Alvarez, and Kevin Elizondo. But anyway, the series, if you've never checked it out, it follows the charming and charismatic and devilishly handsome Lord of Hell, Lucifer Morningstar, and he helps the LAPD detective Chloe Decker take down criminals. So if you're wanting to know a little bit more about this, think in terms that it is Castle, but instead of a famous mystery writer helping the police, it's the son of the devil. It's a great series, and it's one of our favorites, so we very much look forward to a season 6 when it happens, and we have no doubt that it will. If you'd like to give your input, you can always email Netflix and tell them to go ahead and make a season 6. I'm sure they would love to hear from you. Shows usually get renewed based on fans' responses, so there you have it. All right, in other streaming news, if you have not heard already, because we haven't reported it, there is going to be a new Masters of the Universe animated show with the showrunner being Kevin Smith of Clerks and Chasing Amy fame. But it has one of the most talented casts that you can ever put together for an animated show, and we wanted to tell you a little bit more about this and why we are excited. He-Man projects have been in the works for a long time, ever since we had a movie back in the 80s with Dolph Lundgren and Courtney Cox, but now we're going to get a new animated series on Netflix, and of course Netflix is great for that sort of thing. They revitalized Voltron and gave us 7 great seasons. But they have set an all-star voice cast for Masters of the Universe Revelation. And of course, this is based on the He-Man, Skeletor, Tela, and other classic characters of the Masters of the Universe franchise. They will be produced by Mattel Television, which will focus on unresolved storylines of the iconic characters, picking up where they left off decades ago. Here is the cast. Mark Hamill from Mr. Luke Skywalker himself will be voicing Skeletor. Lena Headey as Evil Lynn. Chris Wood will be Prince Adam or He-Man. Sarah Michelle Gellar, Miss Buffy the Vampire Slayer, will be voicing Tila. Liam Cunningham as Man-at-Arms. Stephen Root as Cringer. Diedrich Bader as King Randar Trapjaw. And Griffin Newman as Orko. Tiffany Smith will be voicing Andra. Henry Rollins as Triclops. Alan Oppenheimer as Moss Man. And Susan Eisenberg as Sorceress. Alicia Silverstone as Queen Marlena. Justin Long as Roboto. Jason Mewes from Clerks and Chasing Amy as Hero. Tony Todd, Candyman, Star Trek The Next Generation, as Scareglow. Cree Summer, and as the priest, and as the priestess. Kevin Michael Richardson as Best Man. Kevin Conroy from the Batman animated series as Merman, and Harley Quinn Smith will be voicing Elena. Harley Quinn Smith is the daughter of Kevin Smith. and she has popped up in his movies, the latest one being Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. So, we're excited that there's a new Masters of the Universe animated show coming to Netflix, and for those like us who grew up with it in the 80s, it's a great way to introduce a whole nother generation to this iconic cartoon, if you have kids, or in my case, nieces and nephews. We can't wait to see what happens, and have no doubt that it is in the perfect hands with Kevin Smith as the showrunner. No word yet on when it will be released. Hopefully we'll see something later this year. So that's what's going on in TV, streaming, and movie news. Now, on to game news. There isn't much going on with gaming after the weekend. More rumors, but we don't necessarily report on rumors. But we are going to report on one thing that we can confirm. So for fans of Persona 5, Persona 5 Royal will reunite you with the Phantom Thieves in the best kind of way. So it looks like we're getting some interesting DLC here. So let me tell you a little bit about this game and what to expect. As you start to navigate your way around Kamoshida Palace in Persona 5 Royal, which is the first dungeon-like area you'll visit in the Phantom of Thieves, take a moment to just appreciate how vibrant and polished up everything looks on the PS4. Royal is essentially an expanded re-release of 2017's Persona 5, and right off the bat, you can't help but notice just how sharp and refined the graphics are, which already makes this stylishly slick game look all the more eye-catching. In the world of Persona 5 Royal, you will play as Joker, who leads a group of vigilante teens with special abilities. The teens band together to form the Phantom Thieves of Hearts, and by entering an alternate distorted dimension known as the Metaverse. The Phantom Thieves can enter the minds of the corrupt, staging heists in order to try and make these seedy individuals change their wicked ways. During gameplay, partway through the palace, the first dungeon area to appear in Persona 5, it's a great opportunity to see how the Royal is expanding upon refreshing existing content. So the first new area in the palace is right after the first encounter with a fixture on the wall that you grapple onto. You know right away you're near a place to grapple thanks to the pinging noises that indicate you're near a grappling location. After swinging across, you'll find yourself in front of a door covered in vines. These vines are new doors. As soon as you find out rooms contain Ishi are collectible items appear to resemble human skulls. Morgana tells me, or will tell you, that these Ishi have been manifested because of the negative distortions in the palace. The Ishi you find is called the Red Ishi of Lust, which reflects the corruption of Kamoshida. Outside, you'll counterpole up to the ledges and across the gaps. Doing all this puts you towards the foe, and you will ambush them, which gives you an upper hand in combat. Overall, the grappling hook looks at a fun new way to traverse the palace and opens up the dungeon in interesting ways that give you access to secret passages and hidden rooms. So, from a temple to an obstetrician and peppering of interest new food stalls, there's plenty to do and discover. Persona 5 Royal takes place over the course of a calendar year in monthly cycles, and just like other areas of the game, certain venues and restaurants aren't open at certain times of the day or days of the week. For example, you can only go to the temple in the daytime, and the beef stall is so popular that you won't have a chance of getting anything unless you pop by Sunday night. Persona 5 did a fantastic job of making its locations feel alive, with people conversing on the sidelines and ambient sound surrounding the area. And of course, Royal continues to deliver this in high regard. But after taking a jaunt down all the little side streets, head to the new billboards room, where you'll play around with darts with the actual ray of sunshine. Ruji, there are of course pool tables in the room, but Ruji tells you that you have to try it out another time, as well as activities. Doing one of them will trigger the next part of the day. Playing darts. Playing darts isn't just a pleasant way to pass the time with your pals, though. This particular social activity has some benefits that come into play in the metaverse. After a round of darts, you'll bond, and the effects of the baton pass move strengthens with Ruji. This increases his damage and HP and SP recover stats. And when you use this move in battle, the baton pass enables you to pass your turn to another party member once you've performed a critical or effective attack against a foe. So, a little bit more. After exploring Kichichoji, you'll be eager to meet one of the new characters, Kazumi Yoshizawa. While the meeting is only brief and you don't get to fight alongside her in combat, the encounter with her at Shujin Academy, it does offer offering her umbrella. You'll walk through the rain. It's here that you get a bit of exposition about the character and how others view her. You don't get to interact with her for too long before the session ends, but from there you'll learn from the encounter she's a very likable person who you can't wait to get to know better. After all, discovering who these characters are and spending time with them in both the real world and the metaverse is half the fun of Persona 5. Now, getting to experience the game all over again with some new faces is where the real appeal of Royale shines through. You can also jump into some of the new features called the Thieves Den, which you're able to access and enter from the in-game menu. The Thieves Den is a hub-like area that contains your very own customizable palace. The first thing you'll see is a larger palace maker vending machine where you can buy decorative items such as statues of characters from the different palaces you've completed, as well as palace decals. Outside of dressing the place up, however, you may wish you can play a new card game to earn P medals. The currency you use to buy the new decorative items, as well as listen to the music from the soundtrack. You can rewatch cutscenes from the game, look at artwork, and view the trophy rewards that you've already earned. But driving back into the metaverse as Joker, it will feel even better this time around. And for those who have played Persona 5 in 2017 and invested 100 plus hours to complete it, you can happily say that the new content makes a refreshing return to the Phantom Thieves. And if you've been sitting on this one, it just makes sense to experience this excellent JRPG for the first time by jumping into Persona 5 Royale when it's released on March 31st. So even though we're not really getting a whole lot of new game releases in the spring because of new consoles coming out, it does look like that we're going to have kind of a revamped Persona 5, which was one of our hit games in 2017. It does come out on March 31st, so you've got about 6 weeks, and it might just be the perfect time to get into the game if you didn't play it the first time. So that's really what's going on in the world of gaming today. As I said before, there isn't much news as of today. The only two major game releases that are coming out are MLB The Show, which comes out on March 17th, and of course Doom Eternal, which comes out on March 20th. That's what's going on in the world of gaming, film, and TV for Monday, February 17th, 2020. Pardon the interruption while you watch this fantastic video by That Nerd Show, but we wanted to remind you that when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com and check out all the cool swag that we sell to help support this great news outlet. Yeah, if you like funny gaming or pop culture retro t-shirts, we have them. If you want a fantastic nerd bracelet to show your love as a nerd, we have that. We are also the home of the Baby Yoda t-shirt. That's right, we got a Baby Yoda t-shirt that you can buy and help support That Nerd Show. So when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com, check it out, help support the show, and keep the lights on. Every purchase helps. And now for our question of the day. So, our question of the day deals with Netflix. Since Netflix it seems to be the king of streaming services when it comes to rescuing shows or giving them new life, or at least, renewing them if they were canceled on network TV. I thought it'd be kind of fun to take a look at Netflix and to consider what we want them to bring back or what they should renew. I think it's a great thing to give Lucifer one more season. Absolutely. If you're a fan of Lucifer, yes, you can end it on season 5 and it'll be fine. But you know what? Let's go down that nostalgic road with this great character one more time. Let's get one more season. Why not? Netflix rescued Longmire from A&E. That was the highest rated show on A&E before they canceled it at the end of season 3 on the midst of a cliffhanger. And then they gave it 3 more seasons, rounding it out a full 6 seasons. And it was fantastic. A lot of people consider Netflix as a great way to do limited series or to do a brand new series. Some things don't always work well. 7 Seconds was canceled after 1 season. There was a new show that came out about figure skaters and training, and of course, figure skaters having bipolar issues, called Spinning Out. I actually had a chance to watch that, and I didn't think it was a bad series, and it could definitely use another season, but sadly it was canceled after just 1. The little funny comedic show Insatiable was canceled after 2 seasons about how much people care about beauty pageants. But like I said, Netflix, it has a way of bringing back shows and giving them new life, and it's a great studio to go to. So what would we like to see them bring back, or should they renew? I do think that show Spinning Out should get 1 more season. Could Netflix reboot The West Wing, since they've already got West Wing on there? Could we see a new president and these iconic characters coming back for another administration? Especially if you're having to, run against a crazy person like Trump, and you're finding that good Democratic candidate. There was a lot of talk that Netflix would do a season 5 of Star Trek Enterprise, which never happened. And maybe it didn't need to, but it would have been nice. So, for you fans out there, what would you like to see Netflix bring back? What would you like to see them renew? There's one show that I've always thought would be great for a reboot, or at least a sequel. I loved the show Quantum Leap when I was a kid. The show that made Scott Bakula a household name, and the way they ended it with spoiler alert, he never really gets to come home. I always thought you never gave this character true closure. Okay, he's still out there technically jumping. Couldn't we reboot that? Couldn't we have his daughter, who we established worked on the project, actually leap in there to go find him? Or maybe he conceived another child that they find, much like they had the storyline about the daughter who was conceived in Mississippi while he leaped into a trial lawyer. I always thought it's time to bring that back. We need to find his character. We need to see, where he's been and how to bring him home and how the world has changed. To me, the show doesn't really end until you come full circle with the Quantum Leap project and he actually leaps home. That would be a great series to do. How many sci-fi series can you end up rebooting? How many sci-fi series end up getting the boot off the Sci-Fi Channel that I think Netflix could give new life to? I know Amazon did that with The Expanse, and anybody who's a nerd out there loves The Expanse. So I think it's time that we start making a list. If Netflix is, they're going all in for, new series, reboot, giving new life to series, what would we like? What should they save? What should they renew? Okay? It's great that you have your original content. I mean, we all love Stranger Things. But Stranger Things is ending after one more season. And some of your first original programming are gone, like House of Cards and Orange is the New Black. What's next? What's the next great show that's going to suck us in as nerds? I am still waiting for that second season of The Umbrella Academy. Haven't had an announcement about that yet. So, but we'd love to hear from you. Tell us what Netflix should bring back or renew. How can they give new shows? What shows could they give new life to? Tweet us out at That Nerd Show. Again, we'd love to hear from you. In discussing our question of the day regarding Netflix. So, I'm Marcus Blake with That Nerd Show, and this has been your daily nerd news for Monday, February 20th, 2020. Until the next time, goodbye. Hello there, fellow nerds. I'm Marcus Blake, the editor and producer of That Nerd Show, and we need your help. That's right, we need your support. Like any news outlet, we rely on advertising and donations to keep the lights on. To be the greatest show in this universe, we need funding, and that's where you come in. Like most artists out there, we actually have a Patreon account, and we're asking for donations. But we're not just asking for you to give us money. We actually have stuff that we're going to be giving away if you donate. So we'll be uploading more and more videos to our Patreon account from YouTube, from our daily news to interviews with celebrities to gaming videos and all of our other individual shows that we are doing here in 2020. But to keep us going, we need a little bit of funding. And again, that's where you come in. So it can be as little as $1. $1 makes all the difference in the world. And you can do anywhere from $1 to $3 to $5, all the way up to $500. And we're going to be giving stuff away for your donations. So you could get some Nerd Power wristbands or any other wristbands from our series of wristbands that we're creating for nerds. You can get cool retro gaming t-shirts from our Nerd Swag shop if you make a donation of $20 or more. You can even get advertising on our website or within our videos if you make a purchase or donate $50 or more dollars. We have different tiers, like most artists. Want that new video game that's coming out this year? You want to be playing the same video game we are as we're reviewing it? Hey, you can do that with a $100 donation. Are you looking to get a new console before the year is out? Hey, $500 and you can get an Xbox One, a PlayStation 4, or even a Nintendo Switch. It just takes a little bit to help us. As little as $1 per video that we do. And we're going to have a variety of videos that you can help support. So if you like our content, if you like everything that we do as nerds, from honest conversations about pop culture to great celebrity interviews to wacky and fun gaming videos, then help support us on our Patreon account. You can check us out at patreon.com/thatnerdshow. You can check us out at patreon.com/that. Take 3. Go to patreon.com/thatnerdshow and make your donation today. Even if it's just $1. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you and stay nerdy.